Picture a buyer in February of 2026. He spent 3 weeks researching invoice prices, reading forms, and rehearsing his lines. He walks into the dealership, negotiates for 2 hours, and gets the price down to within $400 of invoice. He drives off paying about $49,353, the average new vehicle transaction price reported by Cox Automotive that month. He feels like a winner. He is not. The dealership made more money on him after he signed than during everything he prepared for. Quick note before we go further, this is general education on how dealerships make money in 2026, not personalized advice for your specific deal. If you are someone who plans to buy a new car in the next 12 months and you believe the price negotiation is the main event, this video is built for you. By the end of it, you will see exactly where the money actually moves, why paying cash can quietly cost you more, which fees are real and which are pure profit, and a step-by-step sequence you can use whether you finance or pay cash. Stay with me, because there is one room in the dealership most buyers walk into already exhausted from negotiating. And that room generates more profit per car than the entire price battle that came before it. Let me show you the gap. Early in 2026, new cars on average sold for 3 to 5% over the manufacturer's invoice price. So when our buyer landed near invoice, on paper that looked like a real win. But invoice is not the dealer's actual cost. Manufacturers typically pay dealers a holdback worth 1 to 3% of the sticker price paid out after the car is sold. On a $49,000 transaction, a 2% holdback is roughly $987 the buyer never sees on any document. Add in volume bonuses and dealer cash incentives that never appear on a sticker, and the picture changes. The Hague Report, an industry source tracked by automotive analysts, put the first quarter 2025 average new vehicle front-end gross profit at $3,135 per car. So that price negotiation our buyer fought so hard, on average, he was fighting over a fraction of the front-end profit, while several other revenue streams stayed completely off the table. Now you might be thinking, fine, but the price negotiation still matters, right? It absolutely does, especially on used cars and on slow-selling new models. I am not saying the sales floor is empty theater. I am saying it is not where the deepest profit pool sits. Identical models on the same lot in the same week can vary by thousands of dollars depending on who you negotiated with and when you walked in. The price battle is real. It is just the warm-up. Here's the part most buyers never see clearly. According to the Hague Report, in the third quarter of 2025, the average finance and insurance gross profit per vehicle retailed was $2,534. That is profit from the back office, separate from the price you negotiated, separate from holdback, separate from incentives. And in the fourth quarter of 2023, average finance and insurance revenue per vehicle ran around $2,684. So this is not a one-quarter blip, it is structural. When you combine that $2,500 finance office profit with the average documentation fee of about $509 in early 2026, the back end of the deal can clear $3,000 per car on its own. You might be thinking, but isn't the service department the real cash cow? That is a fair pushback. Service and parts can carry a dealership through slow sales months, and over time they may generate more revenue than finance and insurance. But here's the difference. Service work happens months and years after you drive away. The finance office happens to you in the next 30 minutes, while you are tired, while you are excited, and while you have already mentally bought the car. That is why it lands harder on the buyer. So what is actually being sold in that office? Let me walk you through the 4 lines that make it work with real numbers. The first line is the interest rate markup, sometimes called dealer reserve. The dealership sends your application to a lender. The lender comes back with what is called a buy rate, and the dealer is allowed to add a markup on top before quoting it to you. Industry practice puts that markup at 1 to 2.5%. California law caps the markup at 2% for loans over 60 months, which gives you a useful national benchmark even if your state has no cap. Picture this. You are financing $43,582 over 69 months, which is the average new car loan tracked by lender data in late 2025. If your true buy rate was 7% and the dealer quotes you 9%, that 2-point markup costs you an extra $2,946 in interest over the life of the loan. That money does not improve your car, it funds the dealership. The second line is the vehicle service contract, often sold to you as an extended warranty. Between September of 2024 and February of 2025, the average profit on a vehicle service contract sold inside a finance deal was $1,633.24 per contract. According to data published by Vision AST, past industry analyses put the profit margin on these products at 50% or higher, with some reaching 70 or even 80%. So when the finance manager presents the warranty as a flat menu price, half or more of that price is pure margin baked in. The third line is gap insurance. You might be thinking, gap is a scam. Not exactly. Gap covers the gap between what you owe on the loan and what the car is worth if it gets totaled. If you are financing a new car with a small down payment over a long term, you genuinely could end up underwater for a year or two, and gap has a real purpose. But here's the wrinkle most people miss. If you are paying cash, there is no loan, no gap, and no need for the product at all. And even when you do need it, your own auto insurer almost always sells it cheaper than the dealership. The fourth line is the menu of physical add-ons, and this is where the margins get extreme. 2023 industry data showed an average profit of $312 per tire and wheel protection contract, and an average revenue of $456 per appearance and paint protection policy. Pinstriping in early 2026 could reach or exceed $500 when bundled into appearance packages. A basic transponder key replacement at the dealership ran $200 to $250, and smart keys often topped $320. Theft protection packages typically promise a payout of $2,500 to $5,000 if your car is stolen and never recovered, which sounds reassuring until you check the actual theft rate of the specific car you are buying. For most vehicles on most streets, the math does not justify the premium. A counter you should know about: some of these fees genuinely exist for a reason. Dealers carry every car on their lot using a line of credit, often called a floor plan. Aged inventory racks up real interest costs, what the industry calls flooring costs, and that pressure is part of why dealers push to move stock. A documentation fee covers actual paperwork. A destination charge from the manufacturer is real. The point is not that every fee is fake. The point is that a 2026 analysis of more than 48,000 price quotes found that 44% of dealers tacked on add-ons averaging $1,291 per deal, and total dealership fees in early 2026 often ran between $1,500 and $4,000 per transaction. Real and inflated coexist on the same line item sheet. Your job is to know which is which. So now let me bring back our buyer and introduce a second one. Same dealership, same week, same exact car. Buyer 2 pays cash. He thinks cash gives him leverage. He pays more than buyer 1. How is that possible? Here's the mechanic. When the dealership loses access to that $2,500 finance office profit center, they have to make it back somewhere or take a smaller deal, so they hold firmer on the price. They are politely unmovable on add-ons that would normally be negotiable, and they may quietly steer you away from manufacturer financing incentives that only apply if you take a captive loan. Cash by itself is not the leverage you think it is on a dealership lot. You might be thinking, fine, then I will just pretend I am financing and switch at the last minute. That instinct is partly right and partly wrong. The right move, supported by a wide consensus of consumer advocates in early 2026, is to negotiate the out-the-door price first, before payment method ever comes up. Out the door means everything you will pay, taxes and all fees included, the only number that actually matters. Once that number is in writing, then you decide how to pay. The wrong move is to lie about your situation, because the finance office runs 3 quiet checks on your payment intent, and getting caught makes the rest of the deal worse. There is one situation where the standard advice flips. If a manufacturer is running a captive financing rebate, in some cases worth thousands of dollars off the price but only available to people who finance through the manufacturer's lender, paying cash literally costs you that rebate. The workaround used by experienced buyers is to take the financing to capture the rebate, then pay the loan off in the first month or two, depending on the contract terms. Read the contract before assuming this works. Some lenders charge enough first-month interest to wipe out the savings, and your situation will differ. Now let me hand you something most videos skip: your rights inside that dealership. Right 1. Under the Fair Credit Reporting Act, a dealership cannot run a hard credit check on you without your written permission. A salesperson handing you a clipboard and saying, "We just need to copy your driver's license for the test drive," is not consent to a credit pull. If they pull your credit anyway, that is a federal violation. You can decline the credit application until you have agreed on the price. Right 2. Consumer protection laws in many places require that the advertised price of a vehicle include all non-government fees. So when a dealer advertises a car at a certain number, then in the back office adds a reconditioning fee or a market adjustment that did not appear in the ad, that is generally a deceptive practice. Government fees like sales tax, title, and registration are different; those genuinely add on. Everything else should already be inside the advertised number. Right 3. Tied selling, where a lender or dealer says, "We will only give you this interest rate if you also buy this protection package," has long been prohibited as an unfair practice under federal and state consumer protection laws enforced by the Federal Trade Commission. There is a nuance worth noting. Some bundled financing offers, especially manufacturer-backed promotional rates, are structured as legal package deals rather than illegal tying. The line is whether you are forced to buy a separate product to get a loan you would otherwise qualify for. If you suspect the line was crossed, you have recourse, not just frustration. Right 4. Multiple auto loan inquiries within a 14 to 45-day window are bundled together and count as a single hard inquiry on your credit score. So shopping multiple lenders before you walk in does not punish your credit. It is one of the few free moves you have, and it is the one move that completely defangs the dealer's interest rate markup. Now you have the pieces. Let me put them in order, because awareness without sequence is not a strategy. Step 1. Today, before you visit any dealership, get a pre-approval from your bank or credit union. This gives you a real interest rate benchmark. Once you know the rate you actually qualify for, the dealer cannot fog you with a marked up rate in the finance office. Step 2. Email 3 or more dealers and ask for a written out-the-door price on the specific stock number you want, including every fee. Not a monthly payment quote. Out the door means everything you will pay. Multiple competing written quotes are stronger than any in-person negotiation tactic. Step 3. When a dealer asks early in the conversation what your monthly budget is, do not answer. The monthly payment question is a tool to extend your loan term and hide the real cost. Redirect every time to the total purchase price. Step 4. Only after the out-the-door price is agreed in writing, decide how you are paying. If a manufacturer captive financing rebate beats your bank rate after considering payoff timing, take it. Otherwise, use your pre-approval. You now have the dealer competing against your bank, instead of you competing against yourself. Step 5. In the finance office, decline every add-on by default, then evaluate each one individually. Gap only if you financed with low equity, and shop your insurer's price first. Service contract only if you have run the math against the specific car's repair history and can buy it later from a third party. Tire and wheel, paint protection, pinstriping, key replacement plans, theft etching, dent packages. Your default position should always be no. Step 6. Ask for the buy rate. That is the actual rate the lender approved you at. If the contract rate is higher than the buy rate, that gap is the dealer's markup and you can negotiate it down. Use the California 2% ceiling as your fairness benchmark. Step 7. Refuse any fee that did not appear in the advertised or pre-quoted out-the-door price. Government fees, taxes, title, registration are mandatory. Documentation fees are mostly required by the dealer's process. Everything else, including reconditioning, market adjustment, theft etching, and other add-on packages, is on the table for refusal. Now let me bring back our two buyers one more time. Buyer 1 negotiated a great price and walked into the finance office unprepared. He left having paid roughly the same total as buyer 2, the cash buyer who thought cash was leverage. Both of them paid the dealer's game without knowing it had 4 quarters. The third buyer, the one this video was built for, you, walks in with a pre-approval, 3 written out the door quotes. A no list for add-ons, and the buy rate question loaded. You did not walk in to win the negotiation. You walked in already knowing what each room costs and how much of it is optional. Here's what to do today. Pull up your bank or credit union app and start a vehicle pre-approval. Write a short email and send it to 3 dealers asking for the out-the-door price on the specific vehicle you want. Make a written list of the 5 fees you will refuse: dealer prep, paint sealant, fabric protection, VIN etching, and pinstriping, and put it in your phone notes for the day you walk in. 3 actions under 30 minutes before any salesperson knows you exist. If this changed how you see a car deal, the like button tells me which videos to make next. And subscribing means you see the full series on the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every day. Final reminder, this is general education, not personalized advice. Your specific situation may include state-specific rules, credit considerations, or tax implications a video like this cannot see. So before you sign anything large, run your numbers by a qualified financial advisor who knows your full picture. And if you found yourself thinking about how this kind of decision fits into the bigger picture of your money, your taxes, your retirement timing, the next video on the screen takes that exact instinct and aims it at one of the most underexplained tax decisions in retirement. Most people get conflicting answers about whether to convert traditional retirement savings to a Roth, and they walk away more confused, not less. The next video lays out a framework that finally makes the call clear. Click it now, and you will see why the standard advice has been pointing you toward the wrong finish line.